Yeah, my name is Alfred Rivera, and yeah, what brings me here tonight is that I experienced solitary confinement directly, being an individual that was incarcerated at one point in time. Um, uh, so yeah, I just come to share my experience with that. But yeah, my name is Alfred Rivera, and I currently reside in Concord, North Carolina, and in the 90s, the 1990s into the 2000s, I was incarcerated, and my experience directly with solitary confinement, I experienced. I know for one thing is the way that an individual goes about after that experience, like making choices, for instance, or interacting with society, people in society. It's a drastic change because of the environment of solitary or incarceration, combined with being thrown in solitary confinement. It's a form of trauma that leaves a stain, like post-traumatic stress. For instance, when a person goes through that and they come out of that, it's like it's a lingering effect, and I've noticed that, going through it myself, that the monotony of being just alone, for instance, or just having no one to reach out to, even those type of memories or sentiments come back to you even after, that such an ordeal. And it tends to cause individuals to make decisions like in haste at times, or without thinking, because of the conditions that they are so used to. As far as like during incarceration, it causes those type of effects to stay with you. So the way that you interact with people, whether it's in the environment of prison or whether it's back in society, it still plays a part in the individual's life. So the conditions, like Sierra was explaining, for instance, for her husband, these things stay with you. They don't go away, in a sense that, well, you could just forget about them. So they psychologically they continue in your life, is what I'm trying to get to. So, and there's many different things, because it depends, I guess, on the individual. And you got people that already suffer from mental, challenges and things like that. And then you have some that aren't. For instance, there was a case in the state of New York, a young man, Khalif Browder, for his case where he was confined, in Rikers Island, and he was put in solitary confinement. There was some other issues involved, but even later on, after his release, he committed suicide, and it was found that it had everything to do with the conditions of prison and solitary confinement, and he was, caught up in that, and ended up, a bright, promising young man ended up committing suicide after being released from prison. And from my direct experience, I could say that, I had challenges even after, I was an individual that was exonerated from North Carolina death row in the late 90s, and I was released. And even right after release and going through, the challenges of being not only on death row, but also being in confinement, or even on North Carolina's death row, being in solitary confinement for a period of time. And I seen that even after that, being exonerated and released, I still had challenges that I couldn't identify at the time. But now, later on, many decades later, I realized that the challenges were, it was psychological and had everything to do with my decision making and choices that I made and things of that nature here. And I'm, just still exploring and finding out things that affected me because of being in such of a predicament of solitary confinement. So yeah, and these are the reasons that solitary should be abolished and not used as a practice or an excuse for, the state and our penal systems. So yeah, there are many challenges that individuals face through such an ordeal, and I'm just one of them here to express that, and I appreciate the space for that.